So this will be a very short video, but as of August 11th of 2026, the Carnival Hunt devs put out an update where they fixed a lot of bugs. But the thing I want to talk about is how they made it to where if you're playing dead as a bunny, then you won't make any voice lines at all. This also includes pinging where the hunter is. Now, before I get into it, I want to be honest and say beforehand that I don't have a lot of experience in this game. My MMR is 1,682, and I only have 22.5 hours in the game, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. However, I do want to say that I also have a lot of experience in not only playing games, way too much honestly, but also a lot of experience in playing other ASIMs, with the one that I've spent the most time in being Dead by Daylight with just over 2,000 hours. I'm someone who thinks about the balance of games a lot for all roles involved, and I do my best to not favor any sides and come up with balance changes that are fun for everyone involved. Anyway, with that being said, back to the topic of the video. So, as said before, if you are playing dead and you ping a hunter, then you will give your entire team aura reading of the hunter without saying anything. Prior to this patch, if you pinged them while playing dead, the bunny would say, "Oh no, he's here," with directional audio. Now, I think this is a bad change for two reasons. The first is that this change makes it easier for bunnies to call out where the killer is for no good reason, to my knowledge at least. Bunnies already have a silent way of telling their teammates where the hunter is, and that way is the chat system. If you press enter on your keyboard, you will be able to type a message to your team, and in the bottom left corner of your screen, it will tell you the location you're currently at as well as the floor you're on. So, if you're playing dead and the hunter is close to you and you're in Nocturne floor 3, then you could type into chat Hunter Nocturne floor 3. Now, I know the devs want this game to come to all platforms, so not everyone in the future will have access to the chat feature in this way. However, even before this change, pinging close to, but not on, the hunter would make a generic ping and have no voice clips attached to it. So while it would be less information for consoles, you can still indicate where the hunter is silently. Not only that, but the devs can easily add in a secondary chat wheel for controller players with preloaded statements that can be sent into chat like "hunter in location" or "make a distraction, please." I personally hope they do this in the future, and I've even suggested it in their Discord, which will be linked in the description. Controller players should have access to every feature a keyboard and mouse player does. It not only makes the experience better for everyone, but also makes it easier to balance the game as a whole. Anyway, with that tangent aside, what's the second reason I think this is bad? The second reason is because it takes out all the risk of pinging the hunter while they are close by, which makes it feel like your choices have less of an impact in the game, along with feeling less immersive. Prior to this patch, if you were lying on the ground, you needed to make the active choice of, hey, should I ping the hunter and risk getting caught, but be able to let my team know not only where they are, but also know exactly what they are doing through the aura reading? And that was an interesting part of having the hunter nearby while you're playing dead. Now, there is no reason not to ping the hunter while playing dead, so you should always be pinging them. The main thing that makes games fun is the choices we make in them, and how that impacts the game as a whole. If you're playing a shooter game, you need to be making tiny decisions all the time. Do you peek out from this corner right now, or half a second from now? Even though these choices we make are small, they can be the determining factor in winning the game or not. By making it to where you should always ping the hunter, as there is no downside now, you are getting rid of that choice and, in turn, making the game less fun. Honestly, when it comes to the pinging voice lines being muted while playing dead, I see no reason for this change to have happened. Other than enough people were complaining about how every time they ping the hunter, they get caught immediately. Which, if that is the case, I want to say to the Carnival Hunt devs that this isn't a healthy way to balance the game. This change reduces the fun and risk of pinging on the killer while playing dead, and overall makes the experience worse, only to make the game easier for players who haven't learned the game yet, when this should be a teaching experience. If you make the game easier in this way, then all you're doing is stifling a new player's growth. Learning that pinging the hunter makes noise even while lying dead will help you realize that every sound you make, the hunter can hear, which tells you that audio is a very important aspect of this game. Taking that teaching moment out can lead to players not making that connection, and they'll end up complaining about other aspects of audio getting them caught. Obviously, I don't think that this will snowball into something like bunnies making zero sound when they drop to the ground to play dead. With your previous patch, you've proven that you're not actively listening to players who don't want to learn, otherwise you would have never given these buffs to hunters when bunnies who are brand new to the game are screaming for a constant stream of nerfs. However, this most recent change shows that you were listening to some of these players, and I strongly suggest you do your best to think about if a balance change is going to be affecting the game negatively with these 3 questions. 1. Is this something that lessens or removes a meaningful choice that the player can make? 2. Is there something else that can already do what this change does? If there is, then does it positively or negatively affect the balance for all players involved? 3. Who is asking for this balance change? Is it someone who already understands the game and all the mechanics involved? Or is it someone who is yet to learn and is unaware of systems that already do what they are asking for? If 2 or more of these questions result in a negative answer, then I highly suggest not going through with that change being asked. That, or find a way to make their suggestion work without those negative aspects showing up in the game. Let's take this most recent change, for example, where, instead of just having it to where all voice clips are muted, we instead have all voice clips aside from the one that plays when you ping a hunter being muted while playing dead. This makes it to where the change is being implemented, but it doesn't negatively impact the balance, the choices players can make, or make this change fully redundant, seeing as how the chat is already a part of the game. That said, my point is that if a player learns to be cautious with their audio, then they're going to be a better player and understand what will and will not get them caught, instead of getting upset about their own mistakes. Don't get me wrong, devs. You're doing great balancing changes overall, especially with the previous patch. And I don't even mind other voice clips like, "Charge me, please," not making any sound while playing dead, because no one in their right mind was announcing that while the hunter was nearby prior to this change. However, we need to not overly balance around people who haven't, or aren't willing, to learn the game yet. That doesn't mean we shouldn't leave them in the dirt though. You should have made a pop-up during the loading screen that says, "When playing dead, be careful with making sound, the hunter might hear you," as to help teach them this aspect of the game. Now, if there was another reason why you went ahead and made this change, then I would love to hear it, because I'm a very big fan of knowing the thought process behind balance changes. But I still think that at the very least, pinging the killer should still play the voice clips. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to talk about in this video. If you've never seen this game before and you're into ASIMs, then I highly recommend it, because this game has good promise and it's pretty fun. It can be rough to learn at the beginning, especially playing bunnies solo, and I hope to make more videos on it, including tips and tricks for playing both roles. My next video will likely be 10 things I wish I knew before playing Carnival Hunt. Thank you for watching my video, and if you enjoyed my ramblings, then please leave a like and consider subscribing. If you have thoughts about this change, or what I said in this video, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to be able to engage in conversation with you. However, be civil about it. I don't enjoy the mentality of seeing the other player base of the game as the enemy. Any comments that single out and demean hunters or bunnies will be deleted without a second thought. You can talk about the individual roles, but be respectful to the players behind them. Well, with all of that said, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and if you're going to bed soon, then I hope tomorrow is an even better day. Have a great one!